Hello traders, welcome to FreeFX. I'm Francesco. Today I was actually trying to do a live stream, but I couldn't do the screen share, so I decided to record a video. So I'm slightly late. It's 10 minutes into the US market open, and as you know, next Monday it's the 4th of July, Independence Day holiday in the US. So we have this week, and then next week again is going to be a shorter week. I decided to really do a video twice a week. So I'm going for Mondays and Fridays, but I thought I'd do an extra one today because I had a bit of time, so I'll just give you a bit more. The US Open today, it was a promising start this morning, and the US Open is proving to be quite a move. So just to give you a sense of where we are, this is a 5-minute chart, and I've been into this trade short since Friday. So if you go back to Friday, which was the 24th of June, give you a sense of how long I've been sitting on this trade. That's the 24th there. So I went short basically at this level, where the arrow is right there. So 3816, and then I waited. Sat on that. So quite a painful actually thing, but I was really quite sure technically that was the right thing to do. So I'll go back to an hour, and you can see on the hourly that I came into this here, the top of that range, Bollinger Band. But even more so, if you look at the 4-hour chart, you can see quite a lot more of that sort of wider move, which was top of the band here. The CCI was at the top level, 200, pushed a bit higher, and then started diverging from price. The price went further up, climbed up to the 390s, 3900s, and it started diverging. So the reason behind that is that usually when we push on the 200, at this point we start sort of diverging. It doesn't obviously kind of bounce back straight away. Sometimes it keeps pushing on that. But as we're on a downtrend, remember that instead of keep the price pushing against the BB, what happens normally is that it will reverse. In contrast to that, when we get to the bottom of this Bollinger Band, as you can see, the CCI has crossed the zero level. And we are now sort of progressing towards the minus 200. When the price, the candlestick gets down to basically touch the lower Bollinger Band, because we're in a downtrend, lower moves tend to have more leg. Therefore, this will continue pushing, and the next candlestick, and possibly the next candlestick. And if you look back to a previous example of that, going to the beginning of June, so second week in June, you can see that the CCI was across the zero level, and then price had sort of touched down on the lower Bollinger Band, and it kept pushing lower, and it kept pushing lower, even though the CCI reached below the minus 200 level, and it started actually diverging, so upward divergence, so contrarian. Price carry on really for a little longer, and then eventually sort of leveled out and then pushed lower again. So in a downtrend, the down push will continue in spite of the CCI maxing out in a negative sense. So that's the reasoning behind me staying in that trade, in a sense, was that the CCI wasn't continuing to push higher, and eventually it did comply, and then now it's sort of I'm starting to get into profit. My target is interesting because it's kind of based on ATR. So the ATR currently is 33, and it's about double that. So if you can imagine, double the ATR. But if you go to the daily chart, you get a picture of that. It's not quite the sort of the big ambitious target that you might imagine. There's a trailing stop, so if all goes wrong, and if all goes well as well, I might sort of decide to take this level and take it further down into that. Depends how we get with the CCI. Now on the daily it's a bit more complicated with the CCI because it's a bit of a slower response, but there is quite a lot of room to get to minus 200, and you can see from previous that to get to the minus 200 is quite a drop. So I might go by the 4-hour. If it gathers momentum, I'll sort of retreat back to the view from the daily and see maybe if this gathers more momentum, I'll push this one lower, get the trailing stop to do the job if things kind of go horribly wrong. But at the moment I'm in profit. I'm happy with that. That's the trade. Now the situation here is, if you look at the weekly, always do the sort of multi-time frame analysis. We had this tremendous bounce last week, and now we are actually pushing lower again. So we've about 2/5 or almost half of that candle is actually lost, or that advance has been lost, but lost has a negative connotation. I'm quite happy with that because I think there's more legroom for the short side. Now, interesting on the CCI, you can see that we've had already 2 bounces pretty much as close as possible to the 200 negative, and that would sort of imply that we are finished. But if you look back to the previous bounce here in the middle of May, we had 1 week positive and then back into negative for 3 consecutive weeks. We got there, we had the bounce, and I think we're going to get even lower now. If you look back to other situations like that, obviously that was the pandemic, so quite a flash move and then straight back up, a V bottom as they call it. So if you compare to where we are now, we've had 2 bounces with a sort of inverted V, and then we have had similar kind of situations. That's back in 2018, and 1, 2 close to 200 and then 200 and then bounce back. And then you have to go back to my all-time favorite, which is the well, not favorite for anybody. It wasn't a laughing matter, but the 2008 financial crisis. As you can see, it was slow burner. Started here and it sort of ended up throughout the year, quite a long churn. And so we had 1 push, and then it sort of picked up a bit, and then continued lower, and then down on the minus 200, and further down on minus 200. And then the last one, so there were basically 4 touching or pushing lower, and the last one was here in the same area, which is the minus 200. And that actually happened at the start of the following year, and then it picked up from there. But it took a while for that to coincide with a true sort of return of the bull trend. So I am quite confident that we haven't seen the last of this. The ATR has picked up quite significantly from September 2021. We are in a constant ascent, but obviously you have to, as an intraday trader, you have to go by the daily. The daily is kind of not really elevated compared to sort of March. We're sort of at those levels, and we've kind of settled for that. And if you go back to the 4-hour again, the ATR, so look, it's kind of, it's sort of, it swelled here up to the middle of May, and it sort of dropped a little bit. So it's okay for, for getting things done, but it could do with being a little bit more feisty. It just feels like it's sort of struggling a bit. So we're coming to the end of the video. Thank you very much for watching, and keep an eye on this market, and that's kind of my position. I've given you the reasoning for my trade, my limits and risks, and where we're going with that, and targets. So take care of yourselves. Trade with your own due diligence, and don't just follow blindly. And that's basically the end of my video today. Good luck trading out there. Take care.